Morning, y'all. Tuesday, October 25th. We're still outside. That's a good thing. Abbott Street Cafe in the background. Hospital over there. A little windy. Welcome to Coffee with Andy. Sit back for the next 5 minutes. These are still free. 36 residential sales last week. I'm almost bored talking about the unit sales because that's our new normal. They're never below 30, they're never above 40 on a weekly basis. 36. I think I'm just going to stop talking about them until if they dip below 20 or once they get to near 60 again where they're supposed to be, we'll start talking about them again. But yeah, between 30 and 40, which means, as we know, if you put a house on the market and you really do need to sell it, it will sell. It's all about price. It's all about interest rates. Yeah, decent houses continue to sell. Let's focus on prices. Prices are a lot more volatile and a lot more interesting to watch. With so few sales last week, we had an $8 million sale. That skews the numbers up. Because we have so few sales, suddenly we're at 1.34 million. That's not the reality, but when you have an $8 million sale and a $4 million sale in the same week with few house sales, it's going to make it appear that the market's doing okay. It's not, but it makes it look like it is. If you look at prices, though, if you take the lens back and outward and kind of look at what's gone on historically, our market increased by 40% earlier in the year. If the year peaked in February or March, it was up 40% over 2 years ago. And okay, now it's up 30% over 2 years ago, and it's dropping, but most people, the overwhelming majority of people, are doing all right. They've experienced ridiculous equity gains still, even with what's going on, even with interest rates going up, even with bananas going from 59 cents a pound to 89 cents a pound. Most people are, as far as their equity positions, are doing just fine. Sure, if your house was worth 1.6 million in February, and if your neighbor's house sold, it was very similar and it sold for 1.6, your house was probably worth 1.6. Reality is it's probably worth 1.4, 1.45 maybe. That's unfortunate, but if you paid $700,000 for it 5 years ago, which would probably be market value for a house like that, you're way ahead. Your house has doubled in value, and your equity position, I don't know, if you had a 300,000, your equity position has increased fourfold. So things aren't bad for the majority of people. Where things are bad, and make no mistake, the people who bought January, February, March, April, if a house was listed at 600,000, they were talked in to paying 660, 670, and now it's worth 520, and that's awful. Like they're underwater, and there's a number of people who are underwater, and they're the ones we're hearing about, and they're the ones we genuinely should feel badly for. They're going to have to hunker down, pay their mortgages, live there for years in many cases before they get above water again. It's going to be worse if they're on a variable rate mortgage, if they're high ratio mortgage. Really bad if they took a loan out from a private equity firm in order to put their house sale together. Those guys don't have as many options. Maybe awkward conversations if their parents took a home equity line of credit out in order to help their kids out to get into the housing market. That's a tough conversation too. But nevertheless, they're the casualties, and we really have no solution for those guys. We feel badly, but nevertheless, the vast majority of people are doing exceptionally well in this market. People I think are hunkering down, though. There's just a vibe that why sell? Let's see where interest rates settle. Let's see where house prices settle. And there's just not a lot of speculation. There's not a lot of investors coming in, but there certainly are buyers out there. There's some guy bought an $8 million house this week, and 33 other people this past week alone. The average was over $1 million. So there's a lot of commerce taking place, And this is the time of year where we traditionally don't see Albertans. We traditionally don't see as many people from the coast because of snow in the Coquihalla. So it's just people from Glenmore buying from people in Glen Rosa. And that market's always going to be there. So thanks for watching, as usual. Andy Smith, Royal LePage, Kelowna. Talk to you next Tuesday.